As the sun rose this morning, and my consciousness slowly bubbled up through the hypnagogic state, I found myself trying to parse out the implications of dreams, nightmares that I had, going out back behind a beautiful home, onto the street, only to be accosted by thugs, hood rats. And as I slowly became more aware, I wondered, are these hood rats, these gangsters, these thugs who would rob you and condescend to you for being a pussy, and rough you up and threaten and intimidate you? You see, I had experience with people like this in real life, growing up in shitty neighborhoods, living in the projects, Peel nonprofit housing as a teenager. I asked myself, the way that they accost me, belittle me, make me feel like I am less than a man, with their mindless bullshit, their thuggery, are they really so different than the 9-to-5er, the factory worker, the people who feel they truly contribute to society, and who make disparaging comments on my recent videos where I talk about wanting to be more devoted to art, to the higher ideals, to being attentive, to creativity, and the phrase grist for the mill. These fuckers are just grist for the mill. The gangster hood rat and his hustling and playing and drug dealing and rolling dirty. Grist for the mill of the criminal justice system. And the factory worker churning out plastic part after plastic part. The warehouse worker picking and packing products that they have no personal connection to, devoting themselves the majority of their time, 40 or 50 hours a week, to a company that really doesn't care about them as an individual. Fucking grist for the mill. But then I did my due diligence once I was fully awake and had a cup of coffee, and I check out grist for the mill on Google. Just gotta make sure about the definition, looking for some synonyms really, some synonymous phrases. Lo and behold, James, grist for the mill is not a derogatory phrase. It is not a derogatory term. It's a positive thing. Oh, whoops. And I step back and I tell myself, yeah, because mills make bread and bread is a good thing. And the long-haul truck driver that delivers that same bread to us is grist for the mill, but in a good way. We need them. We need people that are productive. We need people like my friend who is going insane, but who works at the post office. That is definitely an essential service. Perhaps it is because I find myself wanting to devote myself to these loftier goals of creativity and being attentive to the esoteric, inscrutable things that come bubbling up from the subconscious. And perhaps it is that I look down upon people who actually have the ability and the inclination to work their asses off, work with their hands, even if that means typing behind a computer, perhaps in some rare civil service position that is actually essential, administering benefits to people who need them, delivering the mail, delivering our food to our local grocery stores, even in pharmaceutical companies, creating drugs that many of us actually need. I need to draw back and not approach those people with an attitude of condescension, arrogance, where they are to me, let's say, grease for the machine. A machine that chews them up and spits them out. Yes, they are useful grist for the mill, useful idiots. I need to calm that down. Even if many of those people won't calm it the fuck down in disparaging those of us who need to be artistic and creative, perhaps because that's all we can do. In my last video I didn't mention my ehlers-danlos syndrome. I have tried time and again, as I talked about working in factories, but also landscaping, arborism, even office work. And for reasons that I do not feel like going too in depth about, personal health-related physical reasons, I just am not able to do those things for any real length of time. Nonetheless, I will have grist for the mill with their disparaging comments. People who I suppose see no value in an artist like David Lynch, more esoteric artists who are attentive to the things that come bubbling up from the subconscious. Jodorowsky, Fellini, hell, even Christopher Nolan. Well, I do love movies, folks, and one day I will move towards being more cinematic on this channel. I do hope to see fewer disparaging comments levied towards me for no longer being fully devoted to merely critical thinking, though one could argue that this change of direction is the result of critical thought. And I hope that people can recognize there is a way that being an artist or being creative, being philosophical in a more metaphysical way, to abuse the term, is also grist for the mill. It does contribute to society. It does add something of import, of meaning. We have to avoid this polarized way of thinking, this industrialization versus romanticism, this dichotomy, this tension is definitely not new. Read some Charles Dickens, why don't you? Anyways, folks, I do want to move towards more cinematically creative types of videos. At the moment, for the past week, I've been busy writing an article on Spec for the local newspaper regarding Black History Month. It looks as though it might be published, and when it is, I will share it in the community section on my YouTube channel. But for now, I hope this video will suffice. A little bit more rumination, a little bit more philosophy. And yes, there's nothing wrong with being grist for the mill, as long as you're not just useful grease for a machine that chews you up and spits you out. But who really is grist for the mill, and for what mill for that matter? The mill of creativity, philosophy, poetry, art, romanticism. Isn't that an important mill as well? Does that not also create important bread? Bread for your soul, dear friends. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you like what I do on this channel now, please check out my links on the screen right about now. $1 or $2 a month would be very much appreciated, because it's the middle of winter and I'm fucking broke. Because a lot of extra costs come up around this time of year. Anyways, thanks a lot for clicking and watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Click like and share and subscribe and engage any way you can. We'll talk to you again real soon, friends. Let's see if that article gets published. Bye-bye.